Imagine yourself driving on the road and you see the traffic light ahead. You see the yellow light blinking and you wonder, I have two options. One, to speed ahead and ignore the light, which is going to turn red in a few seconds, or to stop like a good citizen and follow the rules. Now, what do you do? Do you go ahead or do you stop? This decision is what determines if you are a conformist or a deviant. If you follow the rules, if you are a good citizen, that is, you are a conformist. And if you do not follow the rules, you are a deviant. This is what we are going to study today, conformity and deviance. We are going to study the theory given by Robert K. Merton. So we know that conformity and deviance is a universal phenomena. It is not something that is restricted. It can and it is present everywhere. It is present in your home as well. When your parents tell you that they will give you a certain present if you score, say, 99% in your exams. And if you choose to study hard, you are a conformist. If you choose to cheat, you are a deviant. This is what we are going to study. So we think and act according to what is taught to us in the society, in our family. And deviance is when we choose to not follow what we are taught. Okay, so my parents told me not to cheat, okay, not to take shortcuts in life. But if I am still doing it, that means I am deviant. There is something wrong because I am not conforming to what I was taught. Now, there are two theories which we'll study before going to Merton's theory. One is the biological theory given by Lombroso, who said that individuals are born criminals. It is not something that you learn as you grow up, but you are born as a criminal. And you have certain physical traits like a narrow forehead, big palms, big lips, and that is what makes you a criminal. But this theory was criticized on the grounds of being racist. It wasn't a good theory. Now, coming to the psychological theory, this was given by John Bowlby, and he said that different individuals have different mindsets and they do not understand what the consequences will be. For example, if I'm cheating in an exam, I do not realize that the consequences could be very detrimental to me. It can be detrimental to my career. So that is when I have some different mindset which is not capable of analyzing the consequences. Now, Robert Merton, he rejected these theories and he said that the society is responsible for conformity and deviance, and therefore we should study this from socio-cultural context. Okay, so he said that there should be a value consensus. Value consensus means that everyone in the society, all the members, they should agree to something that cheating is bad, honesty is good, discipline is good. So there is a common point where everyone is agreeing. So this is what the society has taught us. Okay, now what happens if I enter a situation where I was not taught how to behave? For example, I was not aware of what to do if I lose my job. So what do? Do I become a conformist or do I become a deviant? This is what happens if there is no norms, if there are no rules. The person tries to become a deviant because that is obviously and always the easier path. Waking up early in the morning, being disciplined, eating right food, all of these things are quite difficult than waking up late and cheating in exams and going late and eating junk food. So you get the idea what is happening. So Merton's theory said that, see, there can be no society where there is no crime. A little crime is always present in the society because a crime free society is a myth. So, what Merton did, he studied the American society and he analyzed that everyone was given certain goals. Like, for example, our basic goals are to earn a degree, earn a job, get married, earn wealth, power, prestige, all of these things. So these are the integrated goals. Now, the society gives you cultural goals and institutionalized norms. Okay, now you are given with goals and you're given with norms that you have to earn money, And how do you have to do it? By earning a degree. So this is your norm. So what happens is there comes a time when there is a gap between the means and the goals, where I am not able to decide what should I do in order to earn money. For example, if I'm not a very bright child, if I'm not able to get good marks, get admission in a good university, what happens? There is a means and goals gap, discrepancy, as Robert Merton called it. And then the society tells you to put stress on success ethos. That means try harder and harder, because if you did not get good marks, you can still try harder and get an admission in a decent college, then work more hard and get money, get a good job, and everything else that goes with it. So therefore there is always an emphasis on cultural means to achieve the goals. So a conformist would be a person who accepts both the means and the goals. For example, working very hard, studying very hard to get first rank in your exams. So this is the example of a conformist. But what happens when there is a person who is deviant? What kind of response would he give? We are going to study that now. First is innovation. The person, he rejects the means. That means he will not abide by the rules, but he will still try to achieve the goal. Example can be black money or tax evasion. So the person, what is he doing? He's still getting a job, he's doing his work, he's earning money, but he's not conforming to the rules. Second is ritualism. Ritualism is when the emphasis is on means. He is trying hard, but he's not aware of the goals. For example, if I'm studying for 16 hours, but I have not decided which exam to give, how to prepare, how to study smart, and therefore these people are generally daydreamers. Third is retreatism. Retreatism is when the person rejects the means and the goals both, and they withdraw themselves from society. For example, when I say, okay, I'm done with the society, I cannot take it anymore, I do not care about the goals or the means, and I'm just going to withdraw myself from the society. Example can be hippies. They live in their own world, they do not give a care about the society. And the last is rebellion. So, as the name suggests, they reject both the means and goals. And what do? They establish new means and goals for the society. An example can be revolutionaries. They reject what is there in the society and develop their new means and goals and abide by that. So, when there is a lot of deviance, it develops a strain in the society because people are not following the rules. And this strain is structural in nature, which leads to further more deviance. So, Merton said that deviance, therefore, should be studied from the socio-cultural context and not from individual point of view, because it is arising from the society itself. So, this was Robert Merton's theory. Now, this was criticized on a few grounds, like some said that society is not the source of deviance and only the individuals are. Okay. Second is the Chicago School. They developed an ecological theory of deviance, and they said that when the person is brought up in a kind of society, in a kind of environment where there are no rules and the people are deviant, this individual will also grow up to become a deviant. And this next is subcultural theory, where people say that something for me could be deviance, which is a conformity for you. For example, we can take the example of khap panchayats, where the two people who are getting married, they are in love and they want to spend the rest of their lives together. So for them, they are conformist. But for the khap panchayats, they are not, because it is an intercaste marriage and they think of that couple as a deviant couple. And the last is every individual, they face some kind of labeling. For example, when we talk about gays, for gays, it is not a deviant behavior to fall in love with a person of the same gender. But for others who label them as gays, as lesbians, as transgenders, whatever, so for those people, the LGBT is a deviant group in itself. Now, we'll conclude this by saying that some form of deviation is necessary in every society. Why? Because we become prepared for the adversities or the challenges that might come in the future. So, for example, if someone is breaking the traffic light, so we now understand, okay, this is a case where someone might break the traffic light. So, what do? We give them penalties. We make the policemen stand there, then we issue penalties, we get cameras installed. So this is how we get prepared for the future. But it is important to know that deviance should be in a within a small degree only, and it should not increase or exceed. Now there's also a role of institutions, role of society and family in a deviant behavior, that is also to be considered. Now you can just quickly see on the screen that I have put a note which is important from the exam point of view. This is just about the labeling theory and primary and secondary deviance. A question can come out of this. Now we'll discuss some questions. First is, who among the following argue that deviance results not from pathological personalities but from culture and structure of society itself? So the answer is Robert K. Merton. We just studied this. Question number 2 is, a deviant behavior at one time, the answer is, in one society will always be so in all other societies. So something or the other, when we talk about deviance, will always be present in the society, because a crime free society is a myth. Last question is, deviant behavior, the answer is, has nothing to do with legends, because we do not follow legends in order to become deviant, because legends always have a cause due to which they act. And it has something to do with myths. Yes, sometimes people want to break the stigma, break the myth, and in order to do that, they choose the deviant path. So I hope you got this lecture. Thank you for watching.